Lesson 88, Quadratic Equations, and solving them by factoring. So a quadratic equation is quite simply an equation that has three terms and equals 0, and the highest degree of your variable is 2. So something like this. 4 minus 3x equals 2x squared. All right, we need this to equal 0. So we'll subtract 2x from both sides, or 2x squared from both sides, which gives us negative 2x squared minus 3x. I'm going to go ahead and just write this in descending order of the variable just because it's going to make more sense. Plus 4 equals, that cancels, so this is 0. This is a quadratic equation. You're going to have some coefficient a with an x squared plus some coefficient b with x plus c all by itself with no variable, and that's going to equal 0. That is the format for a quadratic equation. So if you see an equation that looks like this, or that you can get into this format, then that is a quadratic equation. Okay, now we can solve quadratic equations by factoring because we have a value here. So let me show you how to do that with this one right here. I'm going to bring it over. Actually, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use the one the book gives me because I already have that one solved for you. Before we do that, though, we have to understand, or we have to remember, when we factored trinomials before, we took three terms with the highest degree of 2, and we factored them into two distribution binomials, or two binomials. We're going to do the same thing with the quadratic equation. And because it equals 0, we're going to have that equal 0. And because it equals 0, we understand using the zero multiplicative property that either one of these could equal 0 to get the answer 0. So after we finish factoring, we're going to take this binomial and make it equal 0 and solve it, and this binomial and make it equal 0 and solve it, and that's how we will get our answers, and we will have two solutions for each quadratic equation. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And so let me just walk you through the first one. This is 88.1 in your notebook. Be sure to take great notes because this can get tricky. So we're going to use the factor method to find the roots of x squared minus 18 equals 3x. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 3x from both sides to get it into the format that we need. And we're just going to cancel this out, so that'll equal 0. And then we're going to rewrite this in descending order. So we have x squared minus 3x minus 18. Now we're going to factor this. Remember how we factored it? We set up two sets of parentheses. We're just tacking equal 0 onto the end of it. And we would factor the first number. So x times x is x squared. And now we look at the factors of negative 18. That will give us negative 3 when combined. So the factors of negative 18, well, we have positive 6 and negative 3. We have negative 6, positive 3. We have negative 9, positive 2. And we have positive 9, negative 2. So if we combine these, we get 7, so that's not it. We combine these, we get negative 7, that's not it. We combine these, we get negative 3. If we combine these, we get positive 3. That's not it. So it's this one right here. So it's going to be negative 6, positive 3. So when they're combined, we get a negative 3. And that is the factored answer. But now we're going to take this further. We are going to solve for x. And since we know that anything times 0 is 0, either one of these could be 0. So we're going to take x minus 6 and let it equal 0. And we're going to take x plus 3 and let it equal 0. And then we solve it. We add 6 to both sides. X equals 6. And we subtract 3 from both sides. X equals negative 3. So these are the two answers for this quadratic equation. X equals 6 and negative 3. That's a negative 3. Okay? All right. So now we can move on to something a little bit more difficult. But this is the basis of what we're doing. We're factoring our trinomial, our quadratic equation, into two binomials, and then we're solving each one of them for 0 because anything times 0 is 0. So either one of these could be 0. All right, clear? Okay, if you have questions, write them down. See if I answer them throughout the rest of the video. And if I don't, ask them in class. 88.2. Find the roots of negative 25 equals negative 4x squared. Okay, so we need to put this in descending order. So we are going to add 4x squared to both sides because I like for my 0 to be on this side. This cancels, so this becomes 4x squared minus 25 equals 0. All right, what do we know about this? We have a perfect square minus a perfect square. So all we have to do is set it up. All right, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So this is 2x, 2x, right? And then we have negative 25, so it's going to be positive 5, negative 5 equals 0. So now all we have to do is split these up. 2x plus 5 could be 0. 2x minus 5 could be 0. Let's figure out which is which. So 2x equals negative 5. X equals negative 5 over 2. 2x equals positive 5. X equals positive 5 over 2. When you have a perfect square, you are going to get the same answer, but one's going to be negative and one's going to be positive. Okay? All right. Write down your questions. See if I answer them, bring them to class. I'm going to give you another one. 88.3. Find the values of x that satisfy x minus 56. Sorry, I got lost on the page for just a minute. I had to find it again. 56 equals a negative x squared. So we put this in the right format. Plus x squared plus x squared, right? This cancels. This equals 0. So x squared plus x minus 56. Now we factor. Okay. X times x gives us x squared. What are the factors of 56 that would give us a positive? We know that's a 1, so it's a positive 1x. Our factors of 56 are going to be 8 and 7. It's negative 56. So we need to have a positive 8 and a negative 7. Right? Right. Okay. So we could also say 2 times 28, but that's not going to get us 1x. Only 8 and negative 7 are going to give us a positive 1. So we're going to do positive 8 and negative 7. Those are the only ones that work. So now we're going to set up x plus 8 equals 0 and x minus 7 equals 0. So x equals negative 8 or x equals a positive 7. Easy peasy. All right, do you follow? I hope you follow. This is really, really easy. So now the book asks us, now that we've gotten the hang of doing this, now we need to check our answers and figure out which one actually works. Okay, so we're going to sub in, and we're going to go back to the original problem, which is x squared plus x minus 56 equals 0. And we're going to sub in negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 8 is going to be negative 64, or a positive 64, minus 8 minus 56. Okay, so negative 8 and negative 56, that's 64 minus 64 equals 0. So negative 8 works. All right, now we're going to check 7. Go back to x squared plus x minus 56 equals 0. 7 times 7 is 49 plus 7 minus 56 equals 0. 49 plus 7 is 56 minus 56 equals 0. So yes, that checks. So this checks as well. So both of these are correct. Right? Awesome. So now we know our answers work. We know we have proof. You always want to do your check and see if you got the right answer. All right. Let's clear the page and do 88.4. So we begin. We want to solve 3x squared minus 6x equals 9. Okay, we set it up in the right way. We get 3x squared minus 6x minus 9 equals 0, right? Okay, so now we do this. Is there something else we can do? There is. We can pull 3 out of each one of these. So let's pull 3 out. So we have 3, so that leaves us with x squared minus 2x minus 3. We factored the greatest common factor out to start with. Now we can do this, right? And we need to do the first one, and then the factors of negative 3 are negative 3 and 1, positive 1, or positive 3, negative 1. Which one gives us negative 2? So this one, negative 3 and positive 1. All right, so we are going to, we know that's not 0, that's 3. So that doesn't even come into play. We're still going to take what's in the parenthesis and make them equal to 0, because it doesn't matter. 3 times either one of these could be 0, is still 0, right? So these are the ones that could equal 0. So these are the only ones we have to work out. X minus 3 equals 0, x equals 3. X plus 1 equals 0, x equals negative 1, right? So now we check according to our first problem. 3x squared minus 6x equals 9. If we sub in 3, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Minus 6 times 3 is 18. Does that equal 9? Yes, it does. 9 equals 9. Very good. All right, let's sub in the other one. So we have negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 3 times 1 is 1. Or I'm sorry, 3 times 1 is 3. All right, and negative 6 times negative 1 is going to be a positive 6. 3 plus 6 is 9, so that one's correct too. So both of these check out. Okay, very good. So let's move on to, oh, that's it. All right, so that's it for lesson 88. I don't have any other examples to show you. Remember to put them in the descending order of your variable. And if you can factor out a greatest common factor, that's fine. And the only ones you need to solve for 0 are the 2 binomials. And once you do that, you can sub in each one of your answers and make sure they are correct. And that's all for lesson 88. I'll see you in lesson 89.